Hello, everybody, and welcome to TTV's first coverage of the Ninjago Rebooted series, or Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu Season 3, 4, whatever you want to say.
Woohoo!
Now, I'd like to start this off with two things, one of which being if you came here looking for the episode, never you fear, it is in the description below, so you can give it a watch for yourself. This is a review of the episode. Because, I understand some people this may be their first time watching a coverage by us because they're excited about Ninjago coming back. Maybe people didn't watch Chima. The format we do these in is we all watch the episode, we provide the link for you guys to watch, and we kind of go through, discuss the plot, some of the events that happen, characters, and then give an overall thoughts on the episode. And we'll try to do this for the duration of the series. However, the format in which they are airing Ninjago now is there's only 8 episodes, I believe, and they air 2 back-to-back. So the 4 one-hour specials was how they described it. So each coverage will probably consist of 2 episodes. So today, we're going to be covering episode 27, The Surge, and episode 28, The Art of the Silent Fist. Now, LJ and I...
27, 28?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't it episode 1?
No.
Because before that, the last 2 seasons comprised of 26 episodes.
Yeah.
It's a new season. It's a new season. It's okay.
Yeah, but they're still marking it as those numbers everywhere you look, so...
The notes that you gave is episode 1 and 2, so...
All I know is Cartoon Network and the episodes themselves call it that, so when people are going to be searching up the episodes, they're going to look for 27, 28. Now, LJ and I have watched the entirety of Ninjago beforehand. Var and Kahi have not, so they'll have a bit of an interesting perspective on things.
Indubitably.
Yes. So, I guess...
Did we introduce ourselves, by the way?
We never do that in net coverages.
Well, we should start.
We don't? Okay.
I'm Messanek.
I'm Bartheran.
I'm LJ.
And I'm Kahi, for all you newcomers.
Okay. So, first of all, Ninjago is back, and there's a nice recap of the ending of the season where he fights against the Overlord Dragon Lloyd.
Not sure if it was a good recap or not, because I honestly didn't understand a thing.
Yeah,
So,
it was a pretty bad recap, not gonna lie.
It was not a very good recap, so I'll summarize. Lloyd becomes the golden ninja,
For no
fights
reason.
the
That part
Overlord.
I got.
Yeah, and then I realized that you guys are a little bit confused because Garmadon was normal and he was in the intro. At the end of the series, you see the Overlord had taken over his body, which had been infected, and because of what the Golden Ninja had done, he cleansed Garmadon's body. So that's why he's normal.
So Garmadon was never truly a villain. He was just taken over.
Well, it's a little bit more to that, but...
Yeah, the Overlord, the primary antagonist of the series, only came in at Season 3. Up till that point, it had been Garmadon, but come to find out, hey, he got bit by this snake, which turned him evil, and, affected his mind and all this crazy stuff. And then the snake was caused by the Overlord, and, hey, it was very confusing. But they do a recap of sorts, and they say the city got destroyed. Let's build it up again with crazy technology and hover cars. For some reason.
Okay, but I follow all of that. What I don't get is why they call it New Ninjago City when it's really the same city. They just repaired some stuff.
It looks nothing like the old city.
They call it New Chicago. It's the same thing happened with Chicago. Great Chicago fire.
Probably because they didn't just rebuild the city. They completely revamped it with tech.
Yeah, it's basically a completely different city.
Yeah, it's really
I know, it's
different
the same area.
New Ninjago
New York
City.
burned down. They're not going to call it New York.
New York.
Oh, well.
You see, it's basically the same thing as if Japan got wiped out. They'd call it New Japan. Well, wait, sorry, Japan, Tokyo. I'm trying. Sorry, I meant to say
New Japan.
New Japan.
New Japan.
Japan got wiped out. Call that a freaking tragedy.
We're off.
Okay.
Or Godzilla, depending on what you're watching.
Or Godzilla.
We're off to a great.
I'm trying to make an Akira reference here. If Tokyo got wiped out, they call it New Tokyo because they'd rebuild it, they'd revamp it. It's totally different and new. It's the same thing in this instance because right after what happened,
it's the same area.
Yeah, it's the same area.
New England isn't on top of Old England.
Everything's been redone.
Everything's new. Let's move on.
Did they ever say that they actually built it on the exact same location? They might have moved it over like a few feet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they put a couple more buildings.
Tower.
That's that giant station. Yeah. He's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have built here.
Kyle, here, you downloaded something. Are you downloading something?
I don't. You guys are like cutting in and out for me. Yeah, pretty bad.
You're terrible on our ends.
Yeah, you're pretty bad on my end.
Okay.
It's only you.
I'm gonna close all of them. Crap! No, I closed the wrong tab. Well, never mind. I'm just closing everything.
So to continue on.
Sacrifice.
To continue on. Basically, everything's all well and good. There's crazy technology, and because of all this, the ninjas are needed no more because there's no evil to fight, and they get relegated to teaching at a school, teaching their skills to stupid kids.
Fun fact, that's actually the school. I don't know if you remember this, Messel, but during one of the previous seasons, that's the school where Lloyd was. You know, like the school for teaching bad children or something.
Yeah, isn't that when there's like duplicates?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the same
I remember
school.
that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, and now it's since it was Youth Academy or whatever. Interesting.
Youth Academy. Well,
I think that was what they called.
Now they're
Where you learn how to be young.
Yep. And you know they're doing all sorts of stuff, and the kids are trolling them and making Zane the robot go haywire. And
oh yeah,
I like how they never really explained to newcomers that hey, Zane is a kind of a robot. They just kind of had him do some robotic things. Right.
Well,
I
didn't get that.
No, they kind of did because they had him short circuiting at the start.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, is he a robot? Is he a robot? Is he a cyborg? Is he an android?
He's a robot.
He was built
by
someone who is apparently dead. His quote-unquote father.
Was he always a robot?
Yes, he's always been a robot.
You just didn't know it.
Now, maybe if you'd watched this series before we started doing this,
like
maybe
we tried to tell you to do.
The whole point of this was to come in with a new perspective. It's supposed to be Ninjago rebooted, except it wasn't even close to being a reboot. So
yeah, I was wondering why they were going to call it Ninjago Rebooted, and then by the second episode it makes sense because the quest is to reboot the power. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, and then it's also kind of a it's kind of a joke on how the series got rebooted. It got restarted after it was canceled.
Yeah. But basically,
nice.
Nia Kai's sister gets them a tour of Borg Industries, which is the new big technology manufacturer. They're kind of like Apple. I got the vibe. That's what they were trying to get across.
I think they're more like Google, honestly.
No, they're more like Microsoft.
Wow. We just said they're like three different things.
I think they're more like Bungie.
Wait, why are they more like Microsoft?
I think it's Lego. They're totally like Lego.
Making video games. They had like a Ninjago fighting game that they were showing off.
Yeah, you can go on the
Street Fighter.
I guess like it's. Yeah, I guess that's kind of true. I mean, like basically Google has their hand in everything. So
yeah.
Hey, you're right. It is like
seem
Google.
to like
evil, maniacal. Somebody has to stop them sometime soon. You're right.
Well, it's only because of the evil virus. Like
yes.
LJ.
So basically, they go on tour and they meet Cyrus Borg.
The NSA. They're the NSA.
NSA. There we go. Yes.
They meet Cyrus Borg, and he's this disabled guy who, instead of a wheelchair, is operating on some crazy spider walker, but not really spider, because
I had to feel bad for him because like not only is he stuck in his wheelchair, his name's freaking Cyrus Borg. You know, like come on, his parents already had to be cruel enough to like break his legs when he was born. Now
Wow.
his name Cyrus Borg.
Wow, just
Jeez. Cyrus Borg, man. Can you?
But he's acted all suspicious, and he gives them a giant statue of himself as a gift and tells them to protect it with their lives.
You know,
exactly what I would have done.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest here. The funniest thing, and actually kind of the saddest thing about that scene, he gave them a statue of him standing.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I know, I saw that too. I was like, man.
Right after he
so
said
bad.
he has not had the ability to walk his entire life. But you know, he's
And
like
of
a
course
billionaire,
they
so
drop it immediately.
Yeah, I drop it and break it, and what's inside? Ninja clothes and techno blades. Wow, how convenient. So then all the systems start going haywire, and they say technoblades located, and all the robots come alive, and machines start going nuts, and like traffic lights jump down and start attacking people. I thought that
the city turns against the inhabitants, basically.
pretty much. And why does he give them new ninja clothes? I was wondering, and apparently it's because those masks on their faces are to fool the facial recognition software.
So much for that.
Yeah, it didn't really work, did it? And the technoblades aren't really
actually
straight up weapons. They're used to hack things, because in Ninjago, hacking means completely transforming something under your control, complete with new paint job,
Because
and
I
other stuff.
This, as a computer science student, this could very well be possible in several years, depending on how well technology advances. But are you freaking kidding me? Hacking is now just I touch this thing to another thing, and like it's somehow not. I don't even know what to say. It's not like it's either not controlled to the network, so the overlord doesn't take control of it, or it gives control of it to. I really don't know how it works.
And I think I understand. I think I understand here. This is just all to be offensive to Japanese culture. Anyway.
It actually is. You know what? Yeah.
Shut up.
And then
anyhow, they're like figuring out how to use the techno blades, insert humor and comedy here, and then all of a sudden the robots start attacking like the students and Nia and the sensei.
Yeah. And then we get a nice cutaway showing that Cyrus Borg was trying to help them out, because dun dun dun, the Overlord is back.
Dun.
I kept trying to figure out what they were trying to get across with this. So his spirit, when he got destroyed, got locked in a computer mainframe or something in the power supply. It's very vague. The website says he's been trapped in the digital realm. How? Why? What is that? Because at the end of the series, this is how he got defeated. He was a giant dragon, and he ate the golden ninja, and then Lloyd exploded and incinerated him. That's what happened.
Really?
So, it kind of sort of sounds like they're playing off kind of a supernatural theory that's about where it's like when someone dies, if like there's a certain emotions are attached to objects, and so when a person dies, their very essence, their very memory and being is like attached to a certain place. I think that it sounds like they're trying to play off of that here. Like when the Overlord died, he was so evil and maniacal, he was stuck to that place and became involved in all the techno gizmos that Cyrus was making.
Or he was always a techno virus, and when he fought Lloyd, he was just a Digimon.
Yes.
I'm starting to really like Ninjago even more now. They're taking two of my favorite things, Lego and Digimon, and just mixing them. That's great.
Legimon.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
Legomon.
No.
Digi-Legos.
What? This is why we don't want you to come up with names for stuff.
Yeah.
At least Biocraft was passable.
Anyway. How did this kid escape the cellar we locked him in the first place?
Very good question.
All right.
I dug out of the floorboards.
By the way, if I could mention something that happened before, that as a newcomer, I didn't know. I knew bits and pieces. Like I knew that who is it? Nia? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I knew she was somebody's sister. But all right, basically they have this short scene at the beginning, and we'll discuss this later on, I bet. When they go in, the girls are like, "Hey, look at this machine," and it tells you who her match is, your perfect match. And she's like, oh, okay. And she steps on it, and then like it makes like the form, like the computer generates her perfect match, and it's one of the ninjas. And for like based on her she had a really shocked reaction. She's like, you can tell no one. I thought it was actually her brother. That's what I thought. I was like, oh crap, that's well. And then it turned out not to be. So
you see, I swear this whole newcomer thing would work out if you had just a basic knowledge of anything that happened.
Hey LJ.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like a subplot in the 2 episodes about Nia and Jay and Cole, and it seems very forced and out of nowhere and irrelevant.
Yep.
But it was a funny moment in episode 28. But
I didn't see it as out of nowhere technically because I've never seen these characters before. So hey, like this,
I don't know. They seem to hit it off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I still wonder like what her brother thinks of this entire thing.
It's actually kind of.
There's even a scene where he kind of walked in and he was like, "Oh, did I walk in on something here?"
Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny, Kahi. But the first episode of the last season of Ninjago I showed you was the one where Jay and Nia got to get. I swear.
So you've seen that, and now this happens, and it's like, oh well, hey.
Lots of relationship drama.
Better
love story than like.
It's basically like Legend of Korra.
better love story than Alan and Nicole.
Alan.
Yeah. But no, the Overlord is back with his epic voice, complete with distortions and
it sounds like crap.
But why?
Don't even talk to me. I know what crap sounds like. That good sir definitely sounded like crap.
When that voice first debuted in like the last season, it was freakish because it had gotten so long to Garmadon, the cartoonish villain who was stereotypical, and then this dude comes along, and I'm like, whoa. What are we dealing with here? Got distortions and sound effects.
It's got distortions. Everyone bow down.
Yep.
We can't handle this. We can't handle his distortions.
Too much for me. And basically he takes Cyrus Borg and I guess he, deconstructs him, turns him into a robot, kills him. I'm not really sure what he did. But he turned him into some kind of robot thing because he's now become the Overborg.
He's become a cyborg. That's a cyborg.
Good grief. His name's Cyrus Borg, and they decided to call him Overborg?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
That's one of the sets I got.
It's right there.
There's literally a Ninjago set called Overborg Attack.
Yeah. And there's like a giant computer monitor on the front with the Overlord's eyes. And hey,
Yeah, man.
I can't. It's like who's that one guy? The U.S. agent? This guy's like Ulysses Steven agent, and they're like, hey, we should call you Captain America. Like, really? You're gonna do that to him? Entire life he had to live with Cyrus Borg, and you're like, now you're a supervillain. We're not gonna call you Cyborg.
Yeah.
Right there in front of us.
Overborg.
No. Overborg. Well, that's much better.
Then we have a couple of minutes of them hijacking their vehicles, flying around, doing stuff, good cinematography, good fight scenes, interesting graphics, combat, lasers, all sorts of stuff. Meanwhile, Nia and the sensei have escaped with the children on the school bus that they used to drive there. And they just kind of mention, hey, we need Lloyd. Let's not explain who he is or whatnot, even though I guess they did mention. Now they did. They may have had a line about how he's so popular. He's around touring Ninjago.
Yeah.
Yet he's somehow able to be reached in like so quick of an amount of time to come help while he flies in.
Technically, he's touring Ninjago City, right?
Yeah, it's true. But they made it. So they acted like he was back at their base, the school.
That's. But who's that guy that like the girl walked into the room and there's this dude?
Okay.
There.
Oh yeah, the Elvis Presley guy.
I forget.
Yeah, Elvis. Yeah.
I think he was somebody that they had to work for at one point when they needed jobs. LJ, correct me if I'm wrong here. You've seen this.
Yeah, basically, Dareth was the head of a dojo, like a martial arts dojo, teaching children, and the ninja recently got their headquarters, their ship stolen, and they went to this in the city to this dojo to train Lloyd to become the Green Ninja, and he was like, okay, but only if you can defeat me, and like they totally whip him around the place,
and brown ninja.
Okay, you can stay at my dojo only if I get to be the brown ninja.
Wow.
Yeah, he's.
Wow. And he basically becomes the honorary brown ninja.
Yeah, he's a pretty hilarious guy. I'm surprised.
He's really funny. He's really weird and funny. He's like, I know all sorts of martial arts, like the tiger, the dragon. You know, he's like really he's not.
So he's basically the LJ
at all.
Sounds like he came straight.
He's the LJ of the series.
He's the LJ of the ninja. Okay.
I am ironically the brown ninja.
Yeah.
You're crap.
And then Lloyd flies in on his non-existent golden dragon because, okay, I have to get this out of the way because we're about at that point where the episode ends, but I just have to say something. Lloyd's golden powers. They never explained them when they first came around. They still haven't explained them. He can conjure this golden dragon and ride on it. He has gold, obnoxious clothing, but they never gave a reason for why it exists, and now the whole theme of the season is the Overlord wants his quote-unquote golden power. But what is it? All they ever said was he has become the ultimate spinjitzu master. They never said why he's so powerful or what he can do.
Schematics.
Yeah, I'm just being critical, but hey.
But no, I totally get you. That's a big plot hole. They should have remedied that. But I have no idea. Yeah. It just seemed like he had superpowers, so that's great. And he also kind of went crazy while facing his dad.
Yeah.
So.
But in episode 27, they basically have to get out of the city, and they pull this elaborate stunt to get the Technoblades out of the city and fool the Overlord. And they do, in fact, do that, but Sensei Wu is captured.
No.
Unfortunately.
No.
But don't worry, he shows up in another Ninjago set.
Hey, so is everybody on this show Asian? Or like... What's the deal? Okay, Sensei Wu is like obviously Asian. Okay, all right. So he's obviously Asian. Is everybody else Asian? Like I guess it's supposed to be like Japan-esque.
I don't know. Are you Asian?
I mean, like everybody's yellow. I really don't know. Are they lumping the white people and Asians like together in like a giant pool?
Well,
I don't get it.
Kahi Nuka being racist against himself.
It's not being racist against yourself.
I think the closest to being Asian in that series, and then the closest to being American, the most Asian, aside from the Sensei, would be Zane, and the most American would be Jay.
Yeah.
But you're not answering my question. Are they all Asian, or are they American?
No,
they're not all Asian. No one cares.
They don't really have. They don't really have races.
No, yeah.
There clearly is. They clearly don't live in an established area, so there probably isn't even an Asia in the world of Ninjago.
There isn't. No.
So how come one dude has like the Fu Manchu stash and like the rice?
Because he's meant to be the stereotypical wise leader.
Yes.
Stereotypical wise leaders don't have that. Mr. Miyagi has that. That's what.
Stereotypical wise leader. Like the Kung Fu leader. Guy, dude, Ninjago, it's ninjas, they're being taught by a ninja master, it just makes sense.
I'm just wondering who's Asian, who's not.
Well,
none of them are Asian.
yeah. Assume that
They're
none
just.
are, including,
Is there okay?
including
Has there in the entirety of the series? Has there been a black guy in the entirety of the series?
No, because there hasn't even been a white guy. They're all yellow.
Oh, Lord Garmadon. Booyah.
Yeah, it's very true.
Checkmate.
Oh my
He's not Caucasian though.
No, he's black. That means they're other races.
He's not African American though.
Right?
Okay, so let's just
He's
let's
not
get back on.
No,
Okay, the yellow.
Garmadon's
Yellow.
not black because we see what Garmadon looks like. He was possessed. That's why he was black.
So the episode,
So the
episode is over. And what did you think of episode 27, The Siege?
It's racist.
Come on.
Okay. A lot of good slow-mo stuff. The cinematography and the choreography was actually kind of good. So was the soundtrack. Soundtrack was nice. The new theme song I like a lot better.
It's actually kind of funny. You see, they didn't even premiere the new song that they have. It's like after the blackout.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. But the song they had was kind of just a remix of the old song. You could hear the main track, come on, into the weekend. Anyway, they it was basically just a remix. But it was cool. Yeah. I loved this episode just because, we've been treated to a Lego show such as Chima.
For such a long period of time.
Yeah, my expectations have been held high, and they met my expectations beautifully. The cinematography was great. The fight scenes were well choreographed.
The audio editing, the audio mixing was the best thing for me. Just listening to the music, the soundtrack, and just the little bits and pieces of just like editing they had here, like just Cole's mic. I think that was his name, Cole.
Yeah, that's Cole.
Yeah, where he had like the microphone up close to his mouth and it was loud, but then he tossed it in the air and then his voice got quieter. That was just a neat effect. It was cool. I'm glad they added some like little things like that.
Yeah, that was a funny scene too. It's like, why can't we take the dragon or the Ultra Soul, the Raider? But because neither of them have one of these. I'm on a microphone.
You're lame, Cole.
I don't think LJ repeating it makes it any funnier.
Yeah, you should leave the joke to the show.
It was a funny moment. No. By the way, the humor was really good.
It was pretty funny.
It was just
easily better than the majority of Chima, because you laugh at Chima because it's bad. You laugh at this because it's funny.
Nothing shall come close to the Mardi Gras float with Chi, though. That is hilarious.
That was pretty funny. You know what? I'll give it. That was one of the funniest.
I want a GIF of that to just post.
I know.
But no. Anyway, I think it was good for the reasons stated. However, it wasn't without its flaws. I think both of the episodes, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit, didn't really do as good of a job of explaining themselves to newcomers as maybe they should have. There were just a couple lines of dialogue here and there, and I don't think sufficed. They introduced characters like Lloyd's mother, and why is she there? Where has she been? Why wasn't she with them? Does Garmadon run his own school, or is he just at some place? As we'll see next.
I think so. He runs like a not a dojo. It's like a
first of all,
monastery.
I think it's fairly obvious that. Well, no, maybe no. I think it might be a different place. Yeah, now that you mention it, that is a little bit unusual. But I do agree that there was some. You should. Unfortunately, that is a big flaw of it. It expects you to know the previous season and the previous series. It's definitely highly catering to old fans of this show.
Yeah, they didn't explain who Dareth was.
Yeah, Dareth was kind of just a cameo.
The Overlord trapped in the digital realm. Why? How? Maybe
that's kind of stuff. If you're a newcomer, that's kind of the stuff you kind of accept just because you haven't heard anything different.
That's also true.
If you for me, I came in the Overlord. It's in a computer thing. I get that. I accept that. That's not like a big weird thing for me. What is weird is like all the characters they don't introduce first off. And it was. I think they should have done a better job doing it. It's probably like the worst reboot to be honest. I've come across because like it's not even a reboot in any realm of the
does not
imagination.
feel like a reboot. It feels kind of just like a continuation, honestly. And if it's a sequel, if it's a continuation, it's a very good continuation, but it's not a good reboot.
No. And that becomes more prevalent in episode 28, The Art of the Silent Fist. Because this episode, what stands out to me is there were a couple things about this episode, one of which Ninjroids, two of which Pixel, and three Garmadon that I felt a little weird. They didn't really explain why there are Ninjroids, other than to be a force to go out and send to fight the ninja, but they kind of already had a robot army.
Well, that was actually kind of briefly touched upon in episode 27, I think, because you saw Pixel in the beginning. She scanned Zane, and then at the end of episode 27, you could see her with the Zane hologram, and she plugged the Ninjago, the Ninjroid arms and the Ninjroid head on it is like upgrade complete. And so it's kind of like it's to basically make an army of a bunch of upgraded Zanes.
But why, though? Why not upgrade your already existing robot army and camouflaged environmental objects like traffic lights?
Well, it's the same thing as like Exoforce, which just reminds me a lot of like you got the robots and they get in small places and they're agile and they fight. True. And then you have the large tanky mechs, which fight the ninjas' vehicles, which the ninja conveniently take over now, by the way.
Yeah, and then the ninjas, the Ninjroids do pose a threat, as we see later on. There's this one of them named Cryptor, and he pretty much gives everybody the beat down. But it starts off...
Pythor, anyway.
Yes. Starts out there fleeing, and they run into Lloyd's mother, and Lloyd takes off the golden ninja outfit, which is obnoxious, and he puts on the green ninja outfit to camouflage him. I would pick a different color, like maybe black or something you truly want to be camouflaged, not bright, vibrant green and gold, but hey.
Hey. Those are my colors.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yep. And
but yeah,
they meet Garmadon, who I can tell is going to get real old real quick. Before he was like super evil, and now that he's not evil, he's adopted like I'm not going to fight people policy.
That's going to be gone by the end of the season, I swear.
It'll totally, it's going to be a plot point.
But
see, I kind of have an interesting view on that. I don't, obviously I don't agree with the whole, oh, well, I'm not going to fight anyone because, peace. But I actually like that they did that with Garmadon because A, it's going to get, that's gone real quickly. But B, it just makes him different.
Yeah.
He's a different character now.
Someone
and I
in his situation, I may understand why.
I think there's a difference between people that just condition for peace, and presumably because he's done violent things in the past, Garmadon's just been like, I'm not doing anything anymore. I'm done with this kind of deal. It reminds me too much of what I used to do when I was bitten by a snake.
Yes. And he's got this whole and he's got this
all the evil things I did.
And he's got this whole fighting style where he does these crazy slow-mo dodge moves and insane stuff to make his opponents fight themselves and troll his son when he tries to fight him. And Lloyd's an idiot and just completely falls for it and gets trashed. Complete with jeering crowd and this is your golden ninja taunts.
And he's using his golden powers to make a bunch of little golden dragons fly around his head.
Yep. So that was that. And something with every Ninjago episode that you guys will soon see is if you continue to watch, there's always a moral at the end of an episode, or they pull some plot thread from the beginning that they mentioned, like the Art of the Silent Fist. It later comes in handy, and in the last episode, I forget what it was, but it was something to, Sensei Wu's line about there's only today. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
They always do that. So in this episode, Pixel comes and steals the Technoblades, and they catch her and they hack her, and suddenly she's okay now. And her and Zane.
that also is like, how does that work? How do you just hold a tool up to somebody and their entire processing or the entire way of operation is redone?
It's
anyhow.
It's Lego. That's how.
Hey, also, that moral. There's tomorrow isn't here yet. Yesterday, only today. Is that why so many kids are dropping out of high school? Jeez. Thanks, Lego.
YOLO.
And thank you, Obama.
That's annoying.
And they're doing stuff with Pixel, and her and Zane. They start to have a thing going, which is interesting.
Better than the movie Her.
And then,
I don't know how that. I can't even see how that.
They go on their quest to destroy the power source in Ninjago City to take down the Overlord, but too late. The Overlord has sent Nindroids to fight them, and there's combat. There's more combat. The Overlord has the Nindroid mech dragon as well, which he sends out because basically they tell Lloyd. Well, then Lloyd comes up with the idea, maybe it's best if we split up. So him and his father are off doing their own thing in their car that they took from Nia's place. And suddenly they're being chased by the mech dragon and chase scenes. Meanwhile, the ninja are fighting the Nindroids because they tried to get in incognito to this place to shut off the power, but their cover got blown because of the Mindroid, which was one of the funniest things.
Yeah,
it's like
they
last
have a
on
lot
the
of
factory line, ran out of metal. I shall dump you, the Mindroid. Ha 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 ha.
And all the others laugh because
Yeah.
they're supposed to.
Yep. And I found that funny. And then, of course, the Mindroid is important, and he does stuff, and then gets promptly destroyed. But hey,
so yeah, basically that's the deal, right? They kill the Nindroids, and everything is good except they have to reboot the system.
Except that everything's good, except that Pixel is supposedly dead.
Oh.
Yeah, because they basically sent out like a huge EMP and shut off all the power, but in the near vicinity an EMP went off and they like nuked all the robotics, including the mech dragon and Lloyd's car and Pixel.
Yeah. So I hope they bring her back, because that seems like a waste of a character to just kill off on screen in the second episode. And I guess really, now that we've talked about both episodes, the second episode, I feel that this is a Chima syndrome, in that obviously there's more story to tell. But if you had swapped out destroy the main power source and had them reboot the system right then and there, that they could have told the entire story in 2 episodes.
Yeah,
I know. Featured all the sets,
basically,
except
they used up all of their winter sets. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course we get 2 summer sets, and they can continue to do stuff. But it did feel a little like the first Chima premiere.
Yeah, it did feel a little rushed.
But what did you guys think of the second episode and both of them in general as we close here?
It was interesting. Kind of like the first one a little better.
I agree completely.
Yeah,
it's a little slow at parts.
Yeah, and a little strange at parts too. Kind of lost focus.
Guy?
Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it.
This episode was okay. They was furthering the plot more. They really played up the Her kind of spin-off with what's her name and what's his name.
Pixel and Zane. Learn the character's name before you're in a cover, doofus.
Hey, I'm a newcomer. That's the whole point to this.
All
right, I'm not here to like.
Show. You've been here for years. You should know this by now.
I've seen 1 episode of the show, and I don't remember names all too well.
Episodes.
No. I never said that. I don't have that kind of time watching Breaking Bad.
Alita, you lie. Okay, that has to get it out. But anyway.
But yeah.
Well then.
Anyhow.
What did you think?
What on earth did you say?
Anyway.
Anyhow.
So what did you think?
I like what they're doing a lot more than I like Chima. Obviously I'm used to seeing a lot of choreography, a lot of shows that I watch. So it was good. I won't the greatest, but it was still really good. I like that Lego is doing things that aren't Chima quality.
Yep.
And so far, I mean, like it wasn't as good as the first one. I feel like the first one had a lot of stuff I really liked about it, and the second one was just it's another episode, it's like the middle entry trilogy.
Yep.
It's like Anyhow.
Aljo, what do you think?
For a second episode, I thought, like I said, it continued the plot, but I feel that it was definitely rushed just to kind of get it out of the way, especially since there are so few episodes this go around.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it. I liked it a lot better than any episode of Chima that you could ever show me. I still thought they did really good with the characterization, and the choreography and the sound was really good as well. That humor, that Minjoid was hilarious.
Yep.
Especially that part where he got sucked up into the power core tube.
Yeah.
Keeny Nui-esque thingamabob. That was quite hilarious. But overall, for these 2 episodes, I thought that it's a really, really good continuation. I like how they've continued Ninjago. As a reboot, no, it's not good at all. They do a very terrible job of explaining who's who and which what. But as a continuation, yeah, it's fine. Definitely refreshing after watching Chima because the characters are really well written. It's funny, it's witty, it's upbeat. Like Var said, the music and the sound is also really well done. It's fun to listen to. And possibly the only thing I could give Chima is a little bit updated animation. It looks a little bit more detailed, and this looks a little bit more Play-Doh-y. And the explosions don't look really great.
One thing I did notice is that throughout a lot of this, it looked like you were playing an in-game cutscene from the Lego video game. You know? It wasn't that all refined. I'm not sure what to do in this animation, but
I mean, that's its style. They continued the style. It looks like it just continued from where it left off, and I appreciate that. So overall, I'm very happy with the continuation. I'm very happy that it's back. I'm looking forward to the next 2 episodes, and I'm glad to be done with Chima for the time being.
Yes. I think it was pretty successful of a premiere, and I actually enjoy the fact that they got all their sets out of the way, because now we won't have episodes where they just have to plug sets. They can pretty much do whatever they need to for the story for the next 6 episodes, which may have been their intent, because there's only 2 summer sets, so they can work those in easily. But we will be back to cover the future Ninjago episodes, hopefully next week, although I checked Cartoon Network's schedule, and I don't see any next week. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I'll need to do a bit more research and find out when exactly they're airing next. But we shall return when they do. Thank you for watching. I'm Mesnek.
I'm Barteran.
I'm LJ.
And I'm Kahi.
And we'll see you all for the next Ninjago episode coverage. Goodbye.